Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in this wonderful, beautiful world. Well, now, this is Daniel Bowman. Some of you know me as the Abbey Rabbi or Abbey Rabbi. Some know me by other names, nom de plumes that I've used on the Facebook, on TikTok, and other places. Today's a serious thing. It's a culmination of a bunch of studies I started when the coronavirus first hit. Um, First of all, I'd like to tell people very publicly that I have believe that the coronavirus is a real thing. I don't think that part is made up. That being said, I believe that it was manufactured, has been released, and that we are in the middle of a biological war. Government is all in denial all over the world because the implications are involved, particularly when you find out scientists from around the world and various nations participated in this experiment. They were looking for a new weapon or situation or possible scenario. We have the statement from Bill Gates as well as the then President Obama of a coming virus that would be released and that the world would not be prepared for it. If you remember when he went for his reelection, Obama campaigned on the issue of preparing America for this virus. Not named. We had already gone through SARS 1 or COVID 1 and COVID 2. We know them as SARS, also known as the Asian flu, also known as the bird flu, also known as the swine flu. All stem from the same scenarios, all from the same situation, all from ground zero Wuhan, and all from China. All. And suddenly we went from COVID 3 to 3. We didn't hear anything for a while. We thought we would put it in and it was over, and suddenly we hit 19. I then spoke out whatever happened when I found out about the call sign of the swine flu, Asian flu, as well as the bird flu, all having the COVID attachment to it. What happened between 2 and 19? Everybody said, oh, that's just a number designation. No, 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 no. It is the variant. On further research later on, I asked a question. We keep talking about 19. When are we going to start talking about 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25? We now have COVID 19 with these new subcalls, such as the beta and the other ones now, the delta and another one. Starts with an I. Don't ask me. I can't remember what it is. On loose. They just use variants. Because it was shown that COVID 19 is actually a part of COVID 2 and 3, combined with other ailments that we've had over time and created this new virus strain. It did not come from a bat, it was through experimentation on a mutation of a particular one gene. Okay, so we found that out. And the politicians kept saying follow the science. This can be proved scientifically. This can be proved as well through the documentation of the ones that are allowed to talk versus the scientists who have been silenced. There's been a lot of research on COVID, and it's been going on for quite a while. While we slept, Nero fiddled. Literally. So now what? I began to notice a pattern with COVID. Initially, I took it as basically a strange event because anybody who remembers when COVID first hit, it went after seniors, But this is supposed to be coming in out of Wuhan, but it hit our um, full care senior retirement home slash hospital um, facilities before it hit anything else. My question is, these people don't go anywhere right away. They don't do anything. They're too sick to travel, and they're not allowed to leave their facilities. Too weak to travel, too feeble to travel, and yet they were the first ones to catch COVID, and it went strictly into that, and it plagued the senior citizen retirement homes. Some governments got smart and began to clamp down because we found out that temporary workers were traveling, often holding down just to hold the full time hours, would jump from one retirement home to the next. So a lot of governments began to shut that down and keep you have one space to work, you work in that one space. Several provinces allowed that to slip up, and we saw another outbreak within the senior citizens' homes. But everybody went, that's just for old folks. They realized that it was in a lockdown type scenario where people can't go anywhere. And it was spreading. Despite the fact that later on down the road, we'll get to that, we also went through lockdown and the disease spread. Catching on yet? Then it moved because suddenly wherever it was couldn't contain it. So they had to release it another again. And again, it went after seniors, but this time outside. So it became an old person's disease. Anyone from the age of 70 above became very susceptible to the disease and the virus. But that in itself wasn't what the government wanted. And suddenly, it went into working people. Anyone below the age of 70 and above the age of 50. So you got this bracket now. Again, it didn't affect younger people. So anyone under the age of 40 didn't worry about it. But when I started hitting that one, I thought to myself, this is smart bug. This is beyond any comprehension. It's attacking. It's selectively taking people as its choice. And they said it was progressing. It was mutating. And therefore, it was going down lower. Yet, it was still called COVID-19. So you see the track here? And I went 19, 20, 21. They became variants. We didn't hear about variants until Delta. And their excuse was, we call it Delta because, it's the same disease, same variant. It's just mutating. I said it was a smart bug because it only seemed to hit and select certain individuals within a group. But anybody who was not working yet, say under the age of 20, they didn't seem to touch. So they thought children were safe and everything was safe and they couldn't catch it. Which brought the question, why not? It's a virus. And few people started waking up to the fact that it was selective on who it hit. But they didn't catch a timeline yet. So now we are here today. We've got the Delta. In somewhere along the line, the government stopped saying follow the science. Mostly they became very adamant against following the science when certain scientists came out and said, finally we get an able chance to speak because they were silenced. And when the numbers came out that it was actually greater than the ones that were speaking for the virus, on behalf and taping to the government mantra, I say more? Then things went into lockdowns, and shutdowns, and closed downs. And they said, wear a mask, it would be enough. Now, this was a pathogen. And there's another term by which means is a lethal pathogen. It's a hunter, it's a killer. And I took note that anytime that there's been a pathogen released of that nature, your special gear is set to the frontliners, the first responders. At this time, it does not know. It doesn't go. They're given the best of the mask, but they aren't given those biohazard type of uniforms, which they really should have. They said, here, wear this mask, you'll be fine. To our medical staff, our first responders, our police, and our fire department, etc. While the rest of the citizens were given pieces of paper. It wasn't until Dr. Fauci came out and made his little asinine joke about wearing masks. And the more masks you wear, the safer it's going to be. So if that one isn't enough, put 2 masks on, 4 masks on, 5 masks on, as many masks as your face can hold. 20, 30, 40, 50 masks on. That's when that man lost my respect and my antennas that something else is going on. And I watched as we were controlled and manipulated, and I began to tell people we're being herded. I don't discount the disease, nor do I say anything against its lethalness. It can kill. It can kill. It's a vicious one. It does not have any discriminational factors. These were timed releases so that you and I would comply. Then he said, shut down and stay home. Order in. Be safe. And I pointed out to people that over the years I've been talking about how, eventually we wouldn't have to really leave our home. There's no reason to leave your home. And I began to talk about this to a lot of people very openly and publicly wherever I could find an audience on how we're being herded. Over the time, we have been calibrated from there to the next big thing was once we got everybody wearing masks, let's take it to the next step and get everybody inoculated. Of course, the pushback came back, particularly after it was released that the fact that the antivirus, the vaccine given to us, A, changes our DNA, and as well as B, came out the fact that it had not been approved. It had not been approved. It had not gone through the process of approval. They simply manufactured and got it out there. It was the cure-all. When we find out that, too, was a lie. It doesn't cure all, nor does it prevent disease, because the Delta bypassed it and started doing it. There are those who suspect, and it's under investigation right now from the scientists, that Delta actually may be coming from within, so that people who've gotten inoculation, now the virus has mixed with other viruses within our body, which we carry naturally, and is mutating beyond it, and therefore has created itself to a Delta. Note that it is self-creating, self-evolving, and multiplying, and changing. It's a smart book. So nothing by nature would ever come out like a smart bug. It's a hunter, it's lethal, it's deadly. So don't underestimate your enemy, my friends. But what is determined is the fact that recently there has been a push by the governments to mandate inoculation. They call it herd immunity. We have to reach herd immunity. They're changing to such a point that we have no choice. And already they're talking about buying and selling. You won't be able to work. You won't be able to buy. If no money, no income, you will not be able to buy or sell if you don't have an income. And the government, if you don't get any type of inoculation, will not help you. And it will prosecute anybody who does help you. This is setting us up for something further. Remember, The scriptures say in Revelation that no man should be able to buy or sell without they see the mark of the beast. There's a little sub thing here I'm going to add in. Read that scripture again. It does not say the mark of the beast. It says to receive the mark of the beast, the name of the beast, or the number of the beast. Again, it's part of the herding, manipulation, control of what you think and what you know, because we are too damn lazy, sorry, to pick up the Bible and find out things for ourselves. Read it. There are three ways. We've been so busy focusing on the mark of the beast, waiting for the mark of the beast, that we failed to see that it's not just the mark, it's the name as well as its number. Read it. This is part one. I will now go into part two once this one's loaded up, as to what this is all about. And it's going to shock you, my friends. What I'm about to release may not last, but I'll try and keep this up and save it to as many sites as I can, not necessarily controlled by the big three prophets that are running around. And that's really for to those elitists who want this thing to happen. There's a push on, my friends, for one world government, and we're being manipulated to go toward it, and we're not given any choice. Even President Biden has come out and said, we're not looking at it right now. Let's see if we can convince the people to do it willingly. And then they'll shut things down again. And they're already blaming carriers of the, quote, Delta because they didn't get vaccinated. Carriers of Delta because they have not been, or all the people that have not been vaccinated are the ones who are creating and causing this Delta. Already the lies have started. And wild-eyed mass hysteria is starting to raise, and that's going to be covered in part two. So thank you. Stay tuned. Part two is coming. God bless you.